Hey folks, it's Dr. Gerstmar from Aspire Natural Health, and in this quick video I want to talk to you about a question we hear pretty often, and that's, can I use fermented foods to treat my gut? Do I need to take a probiotic supplement? This is a great question. Let's give a little background first so that the answer makes sense. Okay. First, we have a gut microbiome, or colony of bacteria and more that lives inside of our guts. The gut microbiome is critical to our health and well-being, so we need to keep it healthy if we want to stay healthy. The problem here is that modern society and our modern lifestyles messes up our gut bacteria. The diets we eat, the way we live our lives, and the chemicals we're exposed to, like antibiotics and antacids, for example, hurt our bacteria. And at least part of the poor health of our society is caused by this damaged gut bacteria. We know that when we live more traditionally, whether that's 10,000 years ago or 200 years ago, we were exposed to a lot of bacteria. Now, some of that bacteria was definitely bad, and we've made huge strides at avoiding a lot of the bad bacteria. And that's good. But traditionally, we were exposed to a lot of good bacteria on a daily basis too. So we have to ask, how did our ancestors get their probiotics? And the answer is 3 ways. The first was in and on their food. The second, in their water. And the third was from dirt and the environment around them. It's easy to see how we've removed most of these probiotic sources from our modern day-to-day lives. After all, our food is clean and sterilized, our water is treated, and most of us are living in houses and office buildings, not in fields or forests. So if we want to get our probiotics, which we need to have, into our lives, we have a few choices. First, we can drink untreated water. Generally not a great idea there unless you're extremely confident about its safety. The second is get out in nature on a daily basis, and this is an excellent choice. But for those of us who live in cities or have indoor jobs, it can be impractical. And while it's not the subject of this talk, I do recommend that you take the opportunity to get out in nature as often as you can. It's good for your body and your soul. The third way is going to be food, and the fourth way is going to be supplements. Now, when it comes to food, we're talking about fermented foods. These are things like sauerkraut, yogurt, and a large host of other fermented foods. But it's important when it comes to fermented foods to keep in mind there's a lot of fake fermented foods out there. Let's take sauerkraut or pickled cabbage. Now, there are 2 different ways to make it. Traditionally, we can take this cabbage, we can inoculate it with good bacteria and leave it for a while. Those bacteria will break the cabbage down, softening it up, and they're going to produce acids that give it that tang or that flavor. Now, second way to make sauerkraut is to cook it and add vinegar to it to mimic the fermentation process, and this is what most cheap store brands of sauerkraut that you can get in a supermarket have done. Why? Well, because the fermentation process is slow and more expensive, and most people just don't care. They just want the flavor. But if we're looking to use these kind of foods as a probiotic source, this is a huge deal. These fake fermented foods are not going to provide us with probiotics. It has to be the real fermented foods. Most of them are going to be the more artisanal brands, not the big mainstream ones, and you're often going to find them at health food stores or farmers markets and not typically in your big box supermarket. The second thing to remember when you're talking fermented foods is, are they still alive? If it's been pasteurized, then the answer is no. So a lot of yogurts and other fermented foods that were in fact made the right way with bacteria, but then they were pasteurized and the bacteria were killed. These foods can still be quite healthy, but they're not going to act like the probiotic that we want. We need real fermented foods that are alive if we're going to use them as a probiotic. With all that in mind, we can now come back to the question, can I use real, live, fermented foods in healing my gut, or do I need to take probiotic supplements? Ready? Write this down. We use probiotic supplements in the treatment phase of working with someone, and then whenever possible, switch to fermented foods in the long-term maintenance phase. Now, we do this for several reasons. The first is that a decent percentage of people just can't handle fermented foods when their guts are in bad shape. They just make things worse for people. The second is the dose and form of probiotics in fermented foods can be inconsistent. And that inconsistency can slow down or derail the healing that we're looking for. So for those reasons, we recommend the use of probiotics in the healing phase. If you can tolerate fermented foods, it is okay, fine to add those in addition to the probiotic supplements. And then as things heal and stabilize, we tend to drop out the probiotics and emphasize the fermented foods. The last piece here is some people just aren't going to eat fermented foods, whether it's taste or inconvenience, or they really just don't work well with their system. If that's the case, if that's the situation, then a probiotic supplement is going to need to be a part of that person's regimen because we need a steady stream of beneficial bacteria coming into us. All right, so there you have it. Can you use fermented foods to treat your gut? Do you need to take probiotics? Yes, you probably could use fermented foods, but we recommend probiotic supplements during the healing phase and fermented foods for the maintenance phases of your care. If you or someone you know is dealing with autoimmunity, I'd like to offer you the guide we've put together on how we treat autoimmunity here at Aspire Natural Health. All you need to do is fill out the short form below, and we'll happily send that to you for free. So please click down below. At Aspire Natural Health, we are experts at treating digestive issues and autoimmune diseases. If that's you, we'd love to connect with you. We offer a no obligation, no pressure chat to see if we can help you and if we're the right fit to work together. If we are, we'll move forward. If we're not, we'll do our best to connect you with the person who can best help you. You have nothing to lose, so please call us now at 425-202-7849 or email us at info@aspirenaturalhealth.com. All right, folks, until next time, take care.